What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 8 in my 6th annual 31 Days of Horror. This is a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. And continuing along here today, we have 2014's The Creep Behind the Camera, which is coming in this double pack courtesy of Synapse Films. Now, this is actually the main feature, and the film that I reviewed yesterday, The Creeping Terror, which is considered to be one of the worst films of all time, it's a 60s monster movie, is actually a bonus feature on this disc. So I started with the source material. I figured I would review The Creep Behind the Camera. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer, this is not really a horror film, it's just a documentary about a horror film. So I still kind of lump it in there. Basically, this is a weird type of documentary because it's like a documentary because there's like talking heads telling the story of what happened, but it's also sort of almost like a biography on the director of the film, I believe, whose name is Vic Savage, and there's these reenactment scenes throughout the entire movie where you're following the, almost like biography narrative of the director. It's very weird. So it follows this guy who's basically trying to make this movie. He's kind of a despicable guy. He's pretty much crazy, and he, tricks people, manipulates people, flat out like steals from people, marries a woman, abuses her both physically and mentally, and somehow creates this movie while all of this is going on. Honestly, like, the concept was cool. There's some really ridiculous things that this guy does. Like, at one point he gets an actor involved, and he's selling this movie. He's like, it's going to be the biggest monster movie of all time. You want to be involved in it because you're going to be a huge star. This is going to catapult your career, stuff like that. And then the guy's like, yeah, okay, but I just don't see why I have to pay $250 to be in the movie. And he's like, what's $250? It's a chance of a lifetime or something. So he's just a con man, really. Cons the producer into funding the film. He cons the actors. He cons his wife. I believe he shoots the actor who played Alfalfa in Our Gang. Charles Manson helps him out along the way. I am not sure about this movie, honestly. Like, they say at the beginning, I believe, that The Creeping Terror is one of the most incredible cinematic stories that has never been told. And it kind of leads me to believe that there's a little bit of bullshit going on. I'm not exactly sure if this film is fake or if it is, like, completely over dramatized, or if it's, like, completely exaggerated, if it's never intended to be real. I'm not sure. It seems real at points because you have people who were involved in this movie talking about it, but I'm just uncertain, honestly. And, like, take that away from it, it's still, like, kind of an entertaining movie, but it's way too long. It's almost 2 hours long. It was like an hour and 40-some minutes, and to me, this type of story could have been told in an hour, realistically. There are scenes that just drag and drag and drag, and they're unnecessary. So I did have kind of an issue with that. It's a fun, entertaining thing for a minute, but the joke wears thin fast, and not knowing if it's actually the story or not kind of annoys me a bit. Also, the story kind of jumps around. It doesn't seem to be told in a linear narrative, so that becomes a little confusing as well. The tagline: con artist, psychopath, monster, movie director. It was okay at best. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5 out of 10. I think it's average. It starts off really high and then slowly just goes into mediocrity. So that's it for day number 8, guys. See you tomorrow with day number 9.